Uliandika mkataba na watu ya Western, ukamjema utajenga 1000 kilometers, hujajenga. Umekuwa hapo juzi unafungua transformer. Wewe, mimi ulitaka nikusaidie kudanganya wa Kenya. In matters kudanganya wa Kenya, Mr. President, I'm incompetent. Absolutely. I accept. Because hiyo alikuwa anataka tuende ku-launch barabara na anajua hakuna budget. Tukitoka matinga inafanya nini? Sasa hiyo ndio kazi rais anataka nimsaidie. Ndio anasema huyu haelewi programu za serikali. Sasa kwenda kupeleka matinga ukijua hakuna kazi inafanya, hiyo ni programu ya serikali. He was telling me to go and defend Adani. Tulikuwa na Wamalwa huyu mheshimiwa na Onyonga kwa mazishi Kitale. Huyu Onyonga akaamuka, akalima serikali mambo ya Adani. Na mimi nakaa tu vale. I don't want to nod because I'm still in office. That Adani thing is the worst form of corruption in this country. So mimi nilipoamuka, I never responded. So one of the PAs ya mkubwa akanipigia simu. Mtu yuko huko, mtu ya 36. Wewe ni deputy president ya sangapi? Maana ya deputy president, you speak last. Dio ile maneno yote iko baya serikali ukanu. Kwa nini huyo Nyonga alilima serikali mambo ya Adani and you are not defending? Nikamwambia I cannot answer you. Tell your boss to call me. So president ananiambia, nimwambia mimi siwezi. That thing is corruption. I cannot defend it, Mr. President. I cannot. That is why he is saying I was not defending government programs. Sasa corruption, is it a government program? So wanasema ati I'm incompetent. Hii mtu hakuna kitu anaelewa. Sasa kama serikali ni wizi tupu, sasa what is there to defend? Walinipeleka Senate ati nimekataa watu watolewe na Nairobi River. Walinishitaki nimekataa watu wafukuzwe Marigiti Market. Those are things I could not do. Ukiangalia hii maneno ya affordable housing, it is the worst fraud against the people of Kenya. And it's good today I tell the country. And those are things he was telling me to go to TV to defend. I told him I will not. Mimi pia nikichwa ngumu. That housing, initially we believed in the president. That ni ya kuleta ajira, nini, maneno kizungu mingi, we looked okay. Until it came to my attention, it has nothing to do with housing. Ni biashara. Ya kwamba PS wa housing. Ukitaka kujenga affordable housing, you must go and sign a subcontract na kampuni ile tauza simiti na chuma na mabati. Na hiyo kampuni watu wale wakubwa zaidi Kenya wako ndani ya wapi? So this housing levy inatolewa kwa watu ya Kenya is to make sure these houses are going on. Ndio hao wauze simiti, wauze chuma, wauze mabati. That is what the president is accusing me of not understanding and being incompetent. Sasa mimi nauliza, na mimi nataka niseme, I want to assure the people of Kenya, this team I see here, and when I listen to the people of Kenya, because I listen a lot, once a new government is sworn in, that housing levy will have to be abolished so that we restore the dignity of the payslip. The dignity of the payslip. Wakenya wamehangaishwa zaidi. Na nimeona mpaka yule mkubwa ya wafanyikazi amekuwa ameingia kwa hiyo praise and worship team. Watu nakazwa mambo ya NSSF, mambo haongei. Kazi yake ni praise and worship. Those are the things sisi ambaye tumeshindwa kufanya. So finally ndio nimalize, because I wanted to tell the president, usidanganye wa Kenya. Useme ukweli, tulikosania corruption because wewe ndio unaeneza corruption na watu yako. Na it is impossible to make any progress in this country unless we sort out this country in terms of leadership. We'll sink lower and lower. Finally niambie watu ya Western, because mimi naona huyo jamaa amekwama hapo kwenu. Nyinyi mko na bahati that we are here to advise you. Alienda kwenu usiku 6. Kwetu he was there 6 days out of 7 every week. Hakuna kanisa hajaingia. Hakuna barabara hajui kwa jina. Hakuna soko hajui kwa jina. And you would memorize, you are very impressed. Anataja barabara, Wakikuyu wanasema These men called a community that has pride, a community that's hardworking, that is rich.
That is Ricky G when he was introducing, and of course he is one of the headlines that we have in this country when it comes to the politics of this country. He has been making a lot of news since he was directly impeached from the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Welcome. This is Africa 24 Political Discussions. Of course, you know it happens here every day at 10 p.m. East African time. Where are you joining this wonderful conversation? And of course, we are going to discuss all these in the next few hours as we try to give you the best headlines. And you know what is happening. Of course, the main topic that we have in the country is that Raila exits after he was defeated by the Djibouti candidate in the Africa Union Chairmanship. Now, what next? Is it going to be the President of the Republic of Kenya, or is he going to form the coalition? As one of our friends here, Jeremiah Mondi, told me the other day that there is a plan for them to join together and form this cabinet. And of course, as they know that we need to get development. Now we might have coalition, we might have two deputy presidents and also the president, and also the office of the prime minister might be created. That is according to one of the guest here, that is Jeremiah Mundi, who has been our frequent guest here. And of course, we know that the country has been in a total mess because if you collect data from most Kenyans, they're saying that they are not comfortable with the current regime. They thought that this regime is the one that will make them move ahead, but now we are having issues with the current regime. But since the broad government was formed, now we might have the coalition government. The coalition government might come together and we might have a new deputy president. And of course, what is the next step of Raila Amolo Odinga? That is what we're asking. Raila ataenda nyumbani ama atabaki hapa hapa ndio aweze kuitisha kiti cha urais mwaka wa 2027? That is what we are asking here. So make sure you tune in and give us your views here in Africa 24 as we share more about what is happening. Do you think that Raila Amolo Odinga is going to exit politics or is going to remain as the opposition? What is the next step of Raila Amolo Odinga? We have seen a lot of politicians. We have seen today in the parliament whereby the members of parliament, we saw one of the members of parliament, they said that she had to go and take 600,000 so that she can go and witness Raila Amolo Odinga winning in the AUC chairmanship, but unfortunately he lost. That is Raila Amolo Odinga. He lost to a Djibouti candidate, and of course several leaders, the governor of Mombasa, Babu Wino, Sifuna, a lot of leaders went to witness Raila Amolo Odinga win, but at the end of the day, Raila lost and they had to come back. And of course, we also heard how the president was saying that they are ready also to prepare the next step. And the next step is, where should Raila Amolo Odinga go? Is he going to exit politics? Is he going to just form the coalition government, or what is the next step? That is what we're asking here in Africa 24 Political Discussion. Of course, they call me Boniface Kimanzi. We are going to discuss all this, and we approach 2027. What is the future of Kenya? Because 2030 is almost close, but now what is the future of this country? 2027, we have seen a lot of leaders being championed to become the president. The question is also, do you think that William Ruto will accept them to rule or to take over the leadership from
And we
him?
know is the taxman, Sakayo, because he has been oppressing people with oppressive taxes. But let us have a country that has tolerance. Those who wish to support him, it is their right. But do leave us alone also to unite and support one another. You had me telling my people not to introduce themselves with the name of the party you have known. I have been leader of NAC Kenya, but we have rebranded. We will be launching our brand soon, next month. Or are we already in? Yeah, next month of February. And the name is People's Liberation Party, PLP. Na musifikiria tume-apply jana. We applied for those names in May of last year, long before there were the protests. But the process is just becoming complete. I know I have heard my brother is likely also to be launching, but I'm inviting you all. PLP ni nyumba kubwa. Mukisikia mnataka kuingia, njooni tutembee. Mukiform ingine, hata hiyo hatukatai, because we will still work together. Vile tuko hapa, kila mtu ako na dini yake, lakini zote tuko hapa. Hata chama tunaweza kuwa many political parties, but all marching to the same direction. And I know many of us have said, I also said that I will be vying for presidency, not for another seat. But this time round, we want to say the nation is greater than any of our ambitions. Allow me to grow my ambition for presidency and to grow my brand. Let my brother somewhere else grow their brand. Let everybody grow their brand. But we must know at the back of our minds that as we near that time, we will come together and get one flag bearer. Because if we really want to liberate Kenya, Kenya has to be bigger than any one of us. Siyo ni kweli? Maneno mingi tugaga sira mwingi ni wotho ni ugikatia. Neno ni ndugu turanyitithania tondu gikuyu ugaga ndugu ni ndui ni makinya. Tuyaba kuthondeka urata witu. No urata uyu tukuurimira ati no binya urigiaga. Ni twanyitanira. Na tondu ni muona tuyaba andu ingi tukuthondeka nginya kwagire. Na mundu gukwiraga ati andu aya meaba no makirima ni wona na secretary general wakwa ni mundu umite kuraya. Twina andu nginya vihiga ndirona guku. So here we are a small sample of the nation of Kenya, and we are ready to march together as Kenyans. Once again, Your Excellency and Pastor Dorcas and the entire entourage, thank you so much. And thank you, Elder Gacheri. Nagikuyu Elder etagwo atia? Tandikania ai. O ni muthuri wa kiama.
That is People's Liberation Party, PLP leader Martha Karua. Of course, she's saying that very soon they are going to rebrand. They are going to change this NAC Kenya to PLP. That is Martha Karua. Of course, there are some rumors she might join Gachagua. You have also seen how she has introduced Gachagua and his wife Dorcas Rigathi. They might join together in 2027, which will be a strong foundation for 2027 general elections. That is one of the favorites. She's saying that 2027, it's going to be a dark area when it comes to the politics, because a lot of Kenyans are still looking forward to getting another leader after what they say it's a betrayal. The Atla nation, they thought it's going to provide, it's going to serve Kenyans, but still the trust of Kenyans is broken. They are not agreeing to the kind of implementations that are being implemented by the government. They're saying they don't believe it. They're saying it's high time they reject it. But now, the leaders are still ganging up on what will happen in 2027. We have seen Kalonzo Musyoka, we have seen members of parliament from the Eastern region. We have seen governors from Eastern region saying that in 2027 they are going to support one of their own, that is Kalonzo Musyoka. In 2027 it's going to be the time for Kalonzo. That is what Wavinya Ndeti, the governor of Machakos County, 015 was saying, 013 also was saying that is high time now we get that support, the feedback from the Lake region, the Nyanza region is high time, and he was referring to Baba after the African Union chairman exit, whereby he was defeated. As also Kenyans are looking forward for the next step of Raila Amolo Odinga. What will happen? Where will Raila Amolo Odinga go? Of course, several leaders are saying Baba featured in the government. We might see coalition government, and of course, several leaders have really responded to Raila Amolo Odinga exit. Juja member of parliament Koimburi was arrested and today he was presented to the DCI. Here is what Kimani Ichung'wah roared in the parliament without fear.
To second, allow me also to use this opportunity to express the disgust of this house on the actions and the words of one of us, the member for Juja, the Honorable Koimburi. Honorable Speaker, as much as the police have taken action, and I do hope they will be able to charge the member for Juja, Honorable Speaker, even within our own standing orders, we have put it that you cannot disparage or even discuss a foreign president, especially a president of a foreign country. For the member for Juja to have uttered the unfortunate and careless words that he uttered over the weekend, and shamelessly, Honorable Speaker, in a church, on a pulpit, saying that other African leaders were being bribed, Honorable Speaker. The member for Juja should know that Prime Minister Raila Odinga did not run for chairmanship of AU under the instigation of William Ruto. Prime Minister Raila Odinga chose to run as chairperson of AUC, of the African Union Commission, on his own volition, because he is a Kenyan and an African statesman who deserved that position. President William Ruto did not choose to support Prime Minister Raila Odinga because he was his competitor in the last elections, or because they have served in ODM together. You know, President William Ruto is a founder member of ODM. He chose to support Prime Minister Raila Odinga as a deserving Kenyan and African statesman. The presidents, many presidents who voted for Raila Odinga to be chairperson, did not do it at the instigation or because they were influenced by anybody. Honorable Speaker, we must at the same time express our disgust by the actions of this member of parliament who claimed that the Republic of Kenya had spent 13 billion shillings. From where? Money that we have not appropriated, Honorable Speaker. But you know, Honorable Speaker, there are some of these members of parliament who sit here. Unfortunately, this member is even never in the house. So he doesn't even understand how money is appropriated. He's probably in a police station now. I don't know where he is and I don't care. I hear someone asking me, Honorable Speaker, where he is. Honorable Speaker, I want to propose the member for Juja must be named for this house because it is a bad habit he has formed. A very bad habit. You will recall last year, the same member, when members voted for the finance bill, yes, he claimed that they were being paid, I think, 200,000 shillings to vote for the finance bill. This 2 million shillings. 2 million shillings. He came here, stood there and apologized, Honorable Speaker. In the house, out of our own magnanimity, we chose to forgive him. Yes. Now he's repeated. When the impeachment motion came, he then went again to claim in some funeral somewhere where, you know, he's fond of following some other man there in funerals. He went to some funeral and claimed that members again were paid during the impeachment motion. over 280 members, 282 members who voted in the impeachment motion, he claimed they were being paid. And he mentions figures from his head. And I see the person he follows in funerals repeating the same things. And that's how you know birds of a feather flock together. Honorable Speaker, now he has moved from members of parliament on the finance bill, impeachment motion, to heads of state of friendly countries. We cannot and we must not allow that kind of habit to take root in this house, and we must take action. And I want to invite us. Somebody must move a motion, or should move a motion, to name this member. Yes. So that tomorrow, this is what makes this house, Honorable Speaker, be treated with a lot of contempt and indignity, because of the things that we say, not now of just our house. We have taken it outside to speak, say disparaging things about our country, disparaging things about presidents and heads of state and nations of other friendly nations, friends of Kenya, Honorable Speaker. How do you think those friends of ours who supported Prime Minister Raila Odinga would feel if they heard that their heads of state were being paid to vote? You know, Honorable Speaker, it is so annoying. I want to end it there, but we must name this member. We must. Because if we don't, he will make it a habit. Tomorrow, he will make all manner of allegations against any one of us here or against the president. And you know, because they have made it a sport to move around the country in funerals, insulting the president. And I hear they call themselves, I heard themselves calling them Itungati. Honorable Speaker, Itungati in French means people who have given themselves, heroes who have given themselves their time, their resources, their time and energy for the sake of the nation. But if you find yourself following a man in funerals and wherever you follow that man and calling yourself Itungati, you are not a Itungati, you are a slave to a man. Those who are following, those who are slaves, they are not Itungatis. And lost slaves who are now disparaging heads of nations of Africa. Shame on them, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move and request the leader of minority, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, a good friend, to second this motion to appreciate the government of Kenya, His Excellency the President, His Excellency former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf.
Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to second the motion that has been moved by the leader.
That is Kimani Ichung'wah. He was really slamming the Juja Member of Parliament. He is saying that the Juja Member of Parliament is spreading false information about the Raila African Union campaign. By saying that Raila was supported, and also after what it was said during the weekend, during funeral, that was in a church where he attended, that is the Juja Member of Parliament. It was said that they all came together so that they can go and pay the other states of the nations, so that they can support Raila Odinga. But this is Kimani Ichung'wah, the minority leader, saying that this is false information and this member of parliament should be chased off the house because of speaking words and figures unholy. Figures that can affect development, that can affect the government functions, and also that can really sink into people's minds and thus affecting the government's elections in 2027. Ichung'wah is also saying that this is an habit that has been there. The same member of parliament was saying that they were paid 2 million, so that they can impeach the Gachagua. Gachagua, when it was impeached, That is the same member of parliament. He said that money was spread, and also he was the one saying they used money to go to Ethiopia so that they can follow Raila Odinga when it comes to AUC campaign. That is Kimani Ichung'wah when he was roaring. But of course, the president, he said that they were ready to receive William Odinga as a winner, and they knew Raila will be the winner.
Let me take this opportunity to thank God for this moment here in Addis. As you know, this setup was a setup for celebration. You can all see. But I would not be telling the truth if I didn't say I am disappointed. I am. But I am disappointed because of two things. Number one, I am disappointed that Raila Amolo Odinga did not win because he was the best candidate. And I have a regret for Africa that they missed an opportunity to be served by the finest of our country. Having said that, I have three things that I'm proud of. Number one, Baba made me very proud. He was the best candidate that we could put forward. He was available. Whenever I booked an appointment, he was there. Whenever he had to travel, he was there. Whenever it was early morning or late evening, he was present. And he was there all the way. As a candidate, I want to tell you, as a politician, I have supported many candidates. Right? On this Africa Union chairmanship, Tinga, Baba exceeded all expectations. He drove the campaign like it should have happened, and therefore I am very, very proud of you, my brother Raila Odinga. You did not let us down. You did the best. You put your best foot forward, irrespective of the outcome. We are celebrating our candidate. We are celebrating Raila Odinga. We are celebrating the unity of the people of Kenya behind one of us. And I think it is a moment to celebrate, not that we won, but as a moment that we celebrate that Raila Odinga gave us the best run and the people of Kenya united behind him. It is a cause to celebrate. So, asanteni sana. We have people from all manner of walks of life here. People who came from different parts, people, friends, and many of us who have come together. I don't want to speak for long. I just want to say to all of us, congratulations for finding your way here, congratulations for coming. Thank you very much for standing behind our candidate. Thank you very much for standing united as a people of Kenya. The future is bright. Asanteni sana. I want to encourage all of us here that this moment, as they say, every cloud has a silver lining. When we thought whatever happened on June 25th was a dark day for Kenya, and indeed it was. But it gave birth to a new beginning for our country. And we can now do more, better, together. I am more than sure that this moment is such a moment that again, a new moment is going to come where we can rally our country, we can create a new momentum, and we can take this to a new level. As my brother Raila Odinga has said, when he announced that he wanted to run for the Africa Union Commission, I told him I am going to support him. It was not about politics. It was not about 2022 or 2027. It was about a Kenyan, the only Kenyan who had aspired to run for a position that we have looked for as a country. And I promised him that I will put the entire government machinery behind him and my personal support. This man, Raila Odinga, knows, and God knows, that we put every effort, resource, energy, and prayer behind him. And I want to say that Raila Odinga did not disappoint. He did the best. He met everybody that needed to be met. He spoke to everybody that needed to be spoken to. He did a fantastic job on the debate. And in fact, even the naysayers agreed that he came out better than the others in the debate. True or not true? So we are in a good moment. As he says, we will walk with our heads high up as we go back home to continue the journey of consolidating our country, our progress, and making sure that we drive into the future united and together.
William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, when he was giving a press after Raila exit in the African Union chairmanship. He is saying that he is very proud of Raila Odinga as his brother for the commitment during the entire process when they were campaigning for that AU seat, for his availability, punctuality when he always requested meeting as the geared for this chairmanship. The president is also saying that the African continent did not get the best candidate because Raila Amolo Odinga, from his point of view, from his own point of view, then he thinks that Raila is the perfect candidate for this position. And also thanking the entire nations of African continent for practicing democracy. Democracy was practiced as they voted, and is thanking the entire continent for that. Something that Kenyans are still questioning. Gaucho, one of the loyal followers of Raila. Also, we heard Miguna who said that he supported the exit of Raila Odinga.
Am I live? Good evening, Kenyans and everyone else around the world. We are live. We are live, and today is both a sad and a very glorious day. Sad because of Kizza Besigye's condition in Uganda's Gulag, where Yoweri Museveni, Raila's buddy, is illegally detaining and torturing Dr. Kizza Besigye. I am going to be very loud in calling for Dr. Kizza Besigye's immediate and unconditional release so that he can seek medical attention. I am going to strongly condemn conman Raila Odinga and tyrant Ruto for selling and betraying Kizza Besigye, who visited Kenya for a legal function a month or so ago and was abducted in Nairobi, illegally renditioned to Uganda, put in a military jail, and subjected to horrendous treatment. We call on tyrant Yoweri Museveni to immediately release Kizza Besigye. Secondly, I have to thank and congratulate Africans from Morocco to South Africa, from Togo to Somalia, who stood with Kenyans in rejecting conman Raila Odinga from Africa Union Council chairmanship. Viva and bravo! You have demonstrated to the world that conmanship is unacceptable and will be rejected in the entire African continent. They went to Addis Ababa thinking that they were going to bamboozle, they were going to bribe, they were going to intimidate and threaten, they were going to impress African heads of state and foreign ministers with their primitive opulence and plutocracy. And Africa has shown them, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It does not matter how much money you have stolen. We are going to stand for Pan-Africanism. I particularly salute the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. Cyril Ramaphosa, regardless of the inconsistencies and contradictions of the past, has demonstrated to the entire African continent that he's a true Pan-African hero. He took the Zionist, genocidal, racist, Israeli, brutal government to the International Court of Justice and subjected Netanyahu and his fellow fascists to justice. And they were indicted at the International Criminal Court. They were indicted by the International Court of Justice, and South Africa lay bare the horrendous genocide going on in Palestine. I want to salute the people of the Congo who have suffered since the CIA and the Western imperialist forces led by King Leopold of Belgium butchered one of the greatest African heroes, Patrice Lumumba, and since then have turned Congo into a death camp where they have murdered and massacred tens of millions of innocent Africans and plundered their resources. The gold, the diamonds, the uranium, and other precious metals. And right now, as we speak, the tyrant William Kipchirchir Ruto and his fellow tyrant Paul Kagame are causing havoc with the help of the Western states. We must condemn what Ruto and company are doing in the Congo unreservedly. I condemn it unreservedly. I am also going to stand in solidarity with the suffering civilians of the Sudan. For more than 10 years now, in fact, for more than 30 years now, the Sudanese have known only blood, suffering after suffering after suffering, no freedom. The brave Sudanese stood a few years ago in a revolutionary transformative action and removed their military dictator. But instead of allowing the Sudanese to control their destiny, the West conspired with the military juntas and overthrew the civilian government. And since then, millions of Sudanese have been displaced, millions have been butchered, millions continue to suffer and starve. I stand in solidarity with the people of Somalia, who have known nothing but suffering, division, and civil war since the overthrow of the military dictatorship in the 1980s. Now, coming home to Kenya, let us dissect the meaning of conman.
That is Miguna. He is one of the vibrant leaders we have in East Africa, and is exposing Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, and also exposing other leaders, the likes of Paul Kagame, and how they are terrorizing the entire DRC Congo. That is Miguna. Of course, he is one of the leaders who has been controlling the government through the speeches that they really make. Jeremiah, karibu sana Africa 24. Na tumai umekuwa na siku njema leo. Uliniambia ulikuwa na shughuli mingi sana.
Asante Bon. Yes, I had a busy day today. Nimekaribia. Nataka kusikia what Wakenya wanasema.
Yes. Wakenya wanasema kama kuna headline ambayo imetokea leo ni Martha Karua, Gachagua, Wamalwa. Je, unaona kuna uwezekano hao wakipatana pale mwaka wa 2027? Wanasema they might come together now. That is the rumors that are cooking. Watatingisha serikali ya Kenya kwanza.
Wapi? On what grounds?
See,
I've shared something that is coming up, a proposed constitutional amendment. Did you take time to read it?
You shared with me?
Leo nimeweka tu kwa group ile ya WhatsApp.
Niliona.
I've shared it just like 10-15 minutes ago.
Nimeiona.
If that goes through, if that is pushed, mtu yote anataka kura ya Mount Kenya asahau kama itwi Ruto.
Karua, si maybe wa Kenya, unajua sio wa Kenya wanataka kubadilisha serikali. Wakiweka Karua hapo pia itakuwa sawa. Atakuwa ni mwanamke wa kwanza kuwa rais.
Karua ameharibu mara ngapi, na alikuwa running mate ya baba last election, na kwake hata hatukupata hata 5% votes. Sasa naenda kumpigia kura. Kuna combination zingine hata ukiona tu Bon, you just don't even have to think twice and even discuss. There is that combination. Who is Eugene Wamalwa? Is not a national leader.
You are DAP. Eugene Wamalwa is the leader of the DAP party of Kenya. Martha Karua is the leader of the Liberation People Party.
How many How many parliamentarians does DAP party have currently?
Sasa wa Kenya, unajua sasa saa hii viongozi wana try kuona ni wapi watapenya. Wakenya bado hawako stable, hawajui ni wapi wataweka kura yao mwaka wa 2027. So wanaweza mwaga kura kwa DAP party.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone would vote. They're not serious. Those people are not serious. Ruto, to remove him, needs a very serious person. Sasa mtu kama Karua and Wamalwa, surely. Kama Ruto ameshinda Raila mara 3, Uhuru 1, Uhuru 2, alafu na yeye peke yake sasa wewe unaenda kushinda Ruto, wewe umepitia wapi? There is no point.
Unasema haiwezi?
Me, I don't.
Jeremiah anasema haiwezi. 2027 vita zitakuwa ni kati ya Rais Ruto na kiongozi mwingine ambaye yuko serious. Sasa ni nani huyo? Kalonzo ama Matiang'i ama ni nani? Morara Kebaso hasa ni nani? Ama tunaenda mpaka 2032? Maana ulisema, nimeona leo kuna member of parliament alisema aliboro 600,000 ndio aende pale Ethiopia kuona Raila akishinda. So wale wanasema alipatiwa pesa, yeye hakupatiwa pesa, ni yeye atalipa na madeni yake. Anatuchezea ama ni ukweli hawa anatuchezea hawa?
Hiyo vitu ulilipa na serikali, ulilipa wewe. Taxpayers money ilitumika. They will deny it, but they spent taxpayers money. Hakuna mtu alienda na pesa yake huko. But even if they did, si wamepewa per diem. Si they received per diem for hizo 3 days walikuwa Addis Ababa. Some were even there for 4 days. See, that per diem is still taxpayer money. So regardless of what they say, taxpayers walimamelipa, you and I. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yes, taxpayers money ilitumika pale. Karibu sana Jeff Buru, utuambie unaona Raila akienda wapi sasa? Next step ni Raila aende wapi? Nyumbani ama abaki kwa serikali?
Habari ya Kimanzi.
Safi kabisa.
Nipatie dakika kidogo hapo, naingia hapa na kompyuta kiasi tu. Jeremiah ende.
Kwa watu wetu wa supporters wa Raila Kenya mzima na Afrika kwa ujumla, especially wa Kenya, nataka niwaambie ya kwamba msikuwe na wasiwasi na wacha wale wanalia wanacheka, wacha wacheke. Na wao pia wanasahau haraka sana. Juzi hapa walicheka Raila Amolo Odinga akiluze election, akirigiwa election ya 2022. Wakasema Raila ameisha na ameenda Bondo. Raila alirudi kama ako strong sana, ambaye akakuja akatolea wafuasi wake aibu. Tena watu tena wakasahau, tena wakarudi tena eti wanacheka ya kwamba Raila Odinga amelose kiti ya chairman ya AU ya Afrika. Mimi nataka kuambia watu wetu wa Kisumu, Migori, Siaya, Homa Bay, Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, kila mahali ambayo supporters wa Raila Odinga wako, msijaribu kuingia kwa trap yao watu kusema ya kwamba Ruto must go. Hao watu wajeitaka Raila Odinga kwa president, hawakuwaitaka Odinga kwa president, Oginga Odinga aliwashughulikia, dakika mwisho walimruka. Raila alisaidia hata Uhuru, akasema Kibaki tosha, wakamruka. Akakuja akasaidia Uhuru Kenyatta, wakamruka. So mimi naomba watu wetu mkue calm. Na mimi nataka kuambia watu wetu, hatuna time na hatuna haja na tuko na haja ya kurudi kwa barabara. Kama hiyo ndio furaha yao ambao walisherekea huko Nyeri, wapi na kila mahali, wakisema ya kwamba Raila Odinga kirudi tunaenda kwa join kwa barabara. Hiyo barabara watenda na mtu wa Madera, wataangalia ule mama ya activist Martha Karua wa join nao, na wengine kina Eugene watawajoin waende maandamano. Sisi juu wametuonyesha kwamba hao watu wajeipenda Raila Odinga kutoka ndani kwa mfupa yao, hawajeipenda Raila Odinga. Nataka niambie supporters wetu, sisi tuko na Raila Odinga na mali natuambia tunaenda, tutaenda, but hatuta join hao watu wa Madera, hatuta join hao watu wa Murang'a, hatuta join watu wa Kiambu. Kwa wachozi bao hao watu wametuchukia in passion. Mtu akichukia baba yako asikudanganya na kupenda. Wanapendanga wale wanajifanya kwamba wana support hizo maandamano zao. Unaona, mimi nataka kusema kwamba ODM party haikuundwa ya ikue kama NGO ya kupigania human rights. Iko kazi ya human rights, iko watu wengine, political party inaformiwa ili tuchukue power ama tukue ndani ya power. Enough is enough. Ile wametufanyia kutoka kwa Odinga, wamefanyia Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga akitaka kiti Kenya wataki, akikuja nje pia wanamuombea anguke. My friend, tunasema ya kwamba tutafundishana lesson hapa mbele. Tunashukuru William Ruto ulisema na sisi 2007, umetuonyesha upendo hata kwa hiyo election. Ile heshima ulipea baba akiingia kwa gari akienda kwa hiyo voting. Hata President Uhuru Kenyatta kufanya tukienda kwa election hii ya 2022. So mimi nataka kusema ya kwamba mkifikiria turudi hapo, eti sijui Sakao sijui Soke sijui Kasongo, mnajisumbua. Sisi tunasema watu wetu mtulie. Raila hajawahi lose option na hajawahi shindwa vita. Akianzanga anajua exit hiyo vita inatokea wapi. But this time round, na mimi nataka kuambia watu wa Mount Kenya, hii madharau yenu hii, Raila ni vile tu anapenda Kenya. Hii madharau yenu hii mnashindanga mkifanyia watu. Sasa hii nyinyi mnatakanga nyinyi umekuwa kiviongozi. Moi mliangaisha, sasa hii mnataka kuangaisha Ruto. Raila pia mmeangaisha hiyo miaka yote. Kwani nyinyi ndio wakina nani? Sisi tunasema ya kwamba kama Raila angekaa tu kando kidogo, sisi tungemalizana na nyinyi. Hiyo madhara mungetufanyia tena, amungewaifanyia kwa watu wengine. Na mimi nasema enough is enough. Watu wa Mombasa, Waluya, Kisii, Wakamba, Mijikenda, Wamasai, kama hao watu waliangaisha Moi, hawataki Raila Odinga kuwa hata president wa nje. Na ni president inakuwa nini ya Kenya, hawataki Ruto, wanamwangaisha. Moi ukisikia historia walimwangaisha. Hata nyinyi wakisi watakubaliana na nyinyi, watu wa Coast watakubaliana na nyinyi. Enough is enough. Lazima hao watu wakue kwa maandamano. Nataka hii kitu William Ruto, tunataka hao watu warende opposition full. Nimeona ule Bijamo Wadhira na ule mama activist Martha Karua wameungana mahali kwa chai, wakora wengine eti wanajifanya wanapanga. My friend, baba usikubali kukana hao watu. Wacha tukae na William Samoei Ruto, tukae na watu wa Rift Valley, sisi wote kutoka Sudan. Wacha tubaki hivyo na watu wa Mombasa. Mapa kwa Ruto hapa ndio tunaweza pata presidency raisi. Hao watu wengine hawaone watu. Wacha tuone. Sisi hata mkicheka mfanye nini? Move ya Raila.
Jere, unaona Ruto ni kama alicapture attention ya Wajaluo wote. Pia wewe uko ndani. Unaonaje? Unasikia vile Gachagua anasema? Hapo kwa Ruto ndio wanaona wanaweza pata kiti cha urais. Ni ukweli? Jere, unaonaje? Jere, unaonaje Jeremiah? Unanisikia?
What I'm saying, your mindset ya huyo jamaa, your mindset ya 90% of Luos, and that's where we are going to go. Na the 10% of us wale tunaita Wajaluo wameokoka ni sawa tu, but it's time that we stick with Raila. Raila sticks with Ruto, mpaka 2027. Akiingia hiyo kampeni ya 2027 aweke Jaluo running mate. Akitoka Jaluo achukue 10 years. Ikiisha apatie Mluya mali 10 years. Akimaliza wapatie Mkisii 10 years. Akimaliza wapatie mtu wa Coast 10 years. Hiyo ni 40 years. Watu wa Central wajue Kenya belongs to all of us. The presidency should rotate. Whether it's legislated or not, the theory that a Kikuyu has to be a president for Kenya to be peaceful, lazima ishe. And the only way to finish it is to lock Mulima out of presidency for at least 4, 3, 5 electoral cycles. Ndio watu waheshimiane.
Sasa inamaanisha sasa yani Wajaluo wamegeuka. You have turned. Why? And last year mwezi wa 5 pale wakati ulikuwa na maandamano, watu walikuwa wanasema go, must go. Na hiyo must go sasa imeenda wapi sasa? Jere imeenda wapi?
Kuna watu wako na madharau. Tulitaka Ruto aende, but kuna madharau tumeonyeshwa hapa the last hii wiki tu. We cannot deal with that any further. Hakuna mali Ruto anaenda. Akae tu hapo, sisi tutaenda na yeye. Mtu akimshinda square, clean and square, sawa tu. Tushindwe na yeye tukae kwa opposition. Hata after all tumezoea kukaa kwa opposition. But we are not going to jump ship again. Ati kwanza kuvurugana na Ruto tena because somebody else anafikiria presidency ni yao. Lazima yenda kuwe president. We are not going to allow that. It will be peaceful. It will be quiet. But it is focused. Na hivyo ndo vile itakuwa. If it changes, tutajua. But for now, I don't think it's going to change.
Jere hapa sasa mmetuchanganya, lakini ni ishara ya kwamba sasa sisi kama watu wa Eastern Region, Kalonzo pia ataingia 2042 ama ni lini? Unaona Kalonzo akienda wapi sasa? Ama pia enda Kalime?
Ajipange. Ni mambo na kujipanga. Sisi Nilots tumejipanga. Najua Wakale na Wajaluo ni Nilots. We have a brotherly love that can be interfered with sometimes, but when it comes together, good things happen. Kalonzo ajipange tu. Ajipange tu.
2027 nayo watu watakwaruzana. 27 hapo itakuwa ni moto. 2027 itakuwa ni moto. Buru, kunaona Kalonzo akienda wapi?
Les Kimanzi, kabla uniulize mambo ya Kalonzo, kuna video hapo umeweka, na tena nimesikiza ndugu yangu Jeremiah. Niseme ya kwamba naona wale ambao wana support Raila Odinga wako na machungu sana na hasira kwa sababu ya ile kupoteza, na wanatafuta mahali pa kutolea ile uchungu na hasira, na sasa wanaona the excuse ni mlima. Sisi hakuna mahali tulikuwa tuna vote kule Addis Ababa, Hakuna mtu wa Mount Kenya alikuwa na vote baba ashide ama ashidwe. So hii hasira ya kusema kuna watu walifurahia, kuna watu sijui walifanya nini. If at all there was anybody celebrating, it's not even 1%. Most people were not even bothered about whether Baba was contesting or not, apart from his political strongholds. So nimeona umetuwekea jamaa hapo anaitwa Gaucho, kitu kama hiyo. Ninashindwa kama ni kukosa, tulikosa mtu mwingine wa maana wa kuchukua wa kuleta kwa show, because that is just a hooligan. Jamaa wa kupiga makelele, wa kupiganisha watu. So sometimes tunaangalia hata ni nani tunaleta akiwa kama mtu ambaye tunastahili kusikiza kama Wakenya. Hajafikia hiyo kiwango ya sasa tukuja hapa tuna debate Gaucho. Hiyo machungu na hiyo hasira kujaribu kutoa kwa mlima na kusema ya kwamba there is a way unaweza fugia watu wa mlima wasipate hii kiti na ile kiti. Hiyo ni, that is outdated kind of politics. If anything, I've been telling people here, the Mount Kenya people have never formed government alone. They go with a coalition. Even the coalition that is coming, it will involve all the people. So when people are forming the government, it doesn't matter who is the president. What matters is what kind of strategy they have for winning. What kind of coalition do they have? So anybody dreaming that the time will come when we shall rock Mount Kenya out so that they will not have any say in the government, it is not going to work. And you see it even in 2027. So that is a good dream. And I'm telling those who are dreaming that they can lock out the Mount Kenya people, the Mount Kenya people feel entitled for the presidency. That is just nonsense, which has no basis. Because if anything, Kenya is a democratic country whereby people go in the ballot and they are voted in or out by the electorate. And we have not changed the constitution. So the person with the most votes becomes the president. And the coalition with the most people forms the government. So it's all about strategy. Hii ndoto ya kwamba ati tutafugia Wakikuyu, sijui Wakikuyu walifurahia Raila kushindwa, ni watu tu wenye hasira wanashindwa. Hii hasira tutatolea wapi? So having said that, pare kwa group nimeona debate ya what next for Raila Odinga. Niseme ya kwamba kuna mambo mengi Raila Odinga anaweza kafanya. Na diposa sisi kama mimi mwenyewe sijaificha kusema ya kwamba siku anataka aende Addis Ababa. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu the motive of the president was not right. There was no need of spending 13 billion trying to bribe presidents out there just for Raila Odinga to be outside the politics of Kenya. Hiyo pesa ni pesa igejenga barabara. Hiyo ni pesa igetengeneza hospitali ya kifahari. Hiyo pesa ni pesa igetumika kulipa madaktari. Hiyo pesa ni pesa igetumika kujenga na kuleta vifaa vya shule. I mean, sometimes we have misplaced priorities. So mimi ndani yangu nilikuwa naona ya kwamba kazi tunayofanya ni kazi bure. Hiyo pesa yenye tumepoteza kwa sababu ya a private individual, because Raila Odinga was not going to become a EU chair on behalf of Kenya. I don't know why we had to spend the government resources to campaign for him. It was selfishness of William Ruto, because he thought, I am going to take away Raila Odinga from the politics of Kenya, then I'm going to inherit his political base, which to me is very selfish. It is a narrow way of perceiving things and should not be entertained. We should be told how much, because the government, I have heard 13 billion, other people are saying 15 billion, but a lot of money was spent against the law, we need to be told how much was used in that campaign. Then is it legal to do that? Where did he get the authority of allocating money to go for campaign outside the country? So hatustahili kuwa tunapigia mtu makofi wakati yeye mwenyewe anajitafutia kiti chake mwenyewe, anajitafutia apate supporters. So I am totally against that. I am totally against spending money anyhow. Ati ya kwamba William Ruto kwa sababu anataka kuinherit base ya Raila Odinga, he can do anything. Tumesikia mambo mengi. Kuna wale wanatumia hiyo ya kusema sijui Central Kenya inafurahia sana Raila Odinga ameanguka. Sasa kwa sababu wanaogopa ya kwamba Raila Odinga anaweza shikana na Gachagua na Kalonzo na Uhuru. Sasa lazima walete ile enmity ati ya kwamba kusikue na another coalition. Wajaribu kumfix akae pale kwa Ruto. But Odinga is a very dynamic guy. He might decide tomorrow, I am going to form a coalition, another coalition apart from the government. So kwa kisiasa huwezi fugilia mtu ati mwanza sasa kuleta ile chuki, sijui fitina, sijui kuna watu wamefurahi. I mean, such kind of argument is outdated. So anyway, kuna swali ulikuwa umeniuliza ya Kalonzo. Sijui venye ulikuwa, nimesahau venye ulikuwa umeuliza.
Jeremiah ndio huyu anasema Wakikuyu sasa watakaa nje siasa ya serikali miaka 40. Ndio huyu hapa ni anasema hiyo.
Hiyo ndio nasema hiyo argument Jeremiah na Gaucho pia nimesikia sentiment za aina. Haiwezekani. Maana siasa tunaenda kwa baro tunachaguana.
Jeremiah, defend your statement. Jeremiah.
Ticket.
Jibu Mburu hapo. Jeremiah ni kama amepotea.
The first thing si kusema kufungia mtu. What we are saying is we are not going to join hands with certain people. We are not talking about shutting people out. No, Kenya is democratic. Like Mburu has said, Kenya is democratic. Ule akona kura mingi atashinda. What we are saying is that we know who doesn't mean well for us, and we are not willing to join hands with them in whatever cause. If they want to come and join hands with us, they are welcome to join our cause, to join hands with us. But we are not going to be the ones to go join hands with them. That's what we are saying, Buru. We are not saying we are blocking anyone out. We are just saying we know now who to collaborate with and who not to collaborate with. That is what we are saying. You get the difference.
Jeremiah, you see, Jeremiah, I think it is wrong for anybody in the 21st century to try to profile people basing on tribe, basing that, and that is where we are differing, because we don't have to be talking of the Central Kenya people as if they are people who are against anybody, or people who don't wish other people well, or people who are selfish. I want to remind you, the government of Kibaki, because people have been complaining that we have been in presidency for so long. The government of Kibaki was primarily formed by Kibaki and Raila Odinga. The government of Uhuru Kenyatta, it was formed by Uhuru Kenyatta in coalition with William Ruto. The government of William Ruto was formed by William Ruto and the people of Central Kenya. I mean, the Gachaguas, the Didi Nyoros. So when you want to show like we feel entitled, it is not true. That is just a distraction. That is just creating hatred against a community. And I don't expect that from you, Mr. Omoni. You know, maana hakuna serikali watu wa Central wamewahi form. This is a Central Kenya government. They always form a coalition. And in that coalition, leaders sit down and they agree. This is the formula we are going to use in order to rise to power or in order to form the government. So nataka uiangalie kwa njia kubwa, kwa mapana ya kwamba nobody feels entitled. Every time the government is being formed, almost all communities in Kenya are involved. Na hao ndio huwa wanakubaliana, viongozi wanakubaliana fulani ndiye anastahili kuwa kiongozi. So let us not be seeing people basing on their tribe so much. We see the bigger picture of how do we form the government. The government of William Ruto today, tukianza kuona it's a government of Wakarijini kwa sababu William Ruto is the president. That I think it's a narrow way of perceiving things. That is according to me, because that is a coalition of Kenya Kwanza government involving all the 42 tribes of Kenya. That's how I see it. Kwa hivyo hata serikali hiyo ingine usishtuke Jeremiah ukishtukia ya kwamba it has been formed by Gachagua and other tribes. Hata Gachagua anaweza chukuliwa as the president kama itapatikana yeye ndiye anafit kwa hiyo coalition. Kwa hivyo mambo ya kufikiria ati inawezekana siku moja tukue na chuki against the Kikuyus, we knock them out, they would never rise to power. I am just telling you openly here, it cannot happen that way, because that is not how we form the government in Kenya. Bonnie, where are you? Jeremiah, you can go ahead.
Bona amelala.
Yeah,
Anyway, I hear you, I feel you, and I understand you, Mbur, very well. But one of the things that you are ignoring to point out in your submission is the fact that of all segments of Kenya,
yes, I can't hear you, Jeremiah. It's like your internet is dropping. But this is what I can say as maybe it's I don't know whether it's my side or it's your side, but I can't hear you on my side, Jeremiah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah, you
Okay,
talked of all segments of Kenya.
Yes, from politicians, radio stations, Mama Mboga, watu wa boda boda, and even you, Mburu, kwa WhatsApp group. I remember I told you something to the effect that Raila was not running as Raila. He was running as a Kenyan representative. And for a segment of Kenyans, only one section of Kenya, to have people celebrating that he lost and projecting that loss to other previous losses in Kenya, in Kenyan politics and all, and to make it a laughing stock of sorts, did not lie well with Raila's support base, right? So now Raila's support base, their position is that, so there's a segment of Kenya that is happy Raila lost. They're forgetting that Raila was not running as Raila, he was running as a representative of Kenya. And they are saying that they are happy he lost because they want him to come back and join them to fight the current government, which Raila himself, including Uhuru, told them that this is not the person to rule Kenya, but they voted this person in because of the hatred for Raila. So the mindset of Raila's base is that, okay, these guys are happy when we've lost something. That is fine. Let them be happy. One thing we are not going to do is just to collaborate with them to try and achieve something now, because we know they don't mean well for us. That is the mindset. Whether it will hold the day, whether it will change, because again, politics is very dynamic. Maybe, like you said, maybe Raila can team up with the Gachagua, or maybe Jimmy Wanjigi, or anyone else for that matter from the mountain, and then things can just change. But at this moment, that is the mindset of Raila's support base. That is the way we see it, and it's very, very absolutely disgusting to think of it that way, that there's a Kenyan who would be happy that a Kenyan lost an open competitive seat at the continental level. We do not understand that mindset, and that is why we are disgusted with the behaviors from that segment of Kenya. With that said, we are open to coalitions. We know governments in Kenya have to be won by some sort of a coalition. We are open to it. But at this very moment, the position is that Raila's base are not at a point psychologically where they would be willing to coalesce with Kenyans from that segment that laughed at Raila. That is the point. Whether that will change later on, time will tell. Whether it will never change, time will tell. But at the moment, and I'm speaking for the moment, I'm not trying to predict anything. For the moment, that is the way Raila's base feels.
Jeremiah Omondi is saying that that is the fact. That is a fact. If you're following us here for the first time, remember to subscribe to Afrique 24. We are having this political discussion that kicks off every day at 10 p.m. East African time. And here we always give this platform so that you can share with other Kenyans and your ideas will be implemented. And of course, your word can change a certain Kenyan somewhere who has a different view on what is happening currently in the country. But after the exit of the Raila Odinga in the African Union chairman is now back into the country, we're looking forward to see the next step of Raila Odinga. Is he going back to Bondo? Is he going to join the politics, or we are having the coalition government, as Jeremiah Omondi is saying here, that the coalition government will be formed maybe, but will the Kenya Kwanza government allow this kind of government to collaborate with the coalition government? That is the question. Of course, Jeff Buru here is not agreeing with what Jeremiah is saying, that the Kikuyu, that is the mountain, will be out of the government for almost a decade. Or more than 40 years. That is what Jeremiah is saying, but Jeburu is trying to reject all those. Of course, Buru, you heard what Jeremiah said. You have something to respond on that. Of course, he has eaten on your mountain. You've been protecting the mountain for long. Buru seems network yake imepotea. Jeremiah.
Sorry, but Bonnie, you could not see that I was muted. I was making my submission here that the people who have the same sentiments with Jeremiah and Jeremiah himself, this is what I can tell them. In the context, any kind of competition, there must be a winner and a loser. The only thing that happened is that they failed to be objective enough. They failed to do analysis and research of how someone becomes the chair of the AUC. Because I have been here telling these people, it is very hard for Raila Odinga to win that seat, with reasons that I have been giving here. That it's not about one individual and the influence of one person like William Ruto. Those are multiple nations. And those nations, they have their own interests. They have alliances. They vote basing on their alliances. And there are so many other factors that determine who becomes the chair of AUC. So let them not bring their bitterness now to kind of blame those who are celebrating and those who are not celebrating. If anything, as a politician, you should know that you will not be liked by all people. And even saying that Raila Odinga was running on behalf of Kenya is a misplaced kind of argument, because who sent Raila Odinga to go and represent Kenya? Did they even bother to take the public opinion? How do people feel about it? That was a decision typically of two people. It was a decision that was made between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. They never consulted anybody. We just had Raila Odinga is contesting, and they started campaigns. So they did not respect the opinion of the public. So nobody should feel bad when those who felt they were disrespected by the decision, when they are saying they are happy that he lost. The other reason why some people are saying it is okay, is because the motive behind William Ruto supporting Raila Odinga to go was not right. People were able to see the motive. He wanted to inherit the base of Raila Odinga. Sasa sahi mnatutolea hasira yote, mnajaribu kuleta central nini. But from the beginning, the motive was wrong. It was, sasa kwa sababu inaonekana hawa watu wa Mount Kenya wameanza kuacha Ruto, sasa tutafute venye tutafanya tupate support ya Raila Odinga to continue sustaining power. And we knew about it. That is why we said we are not supporting, because it was a selfish move. So, watu wasikuwe na hasira sana. Saa hii mnasikia hivyo kwa sababu ameanguka na hamukutarajia, lakini Jeremiah, nimekuwa hapa na wewe, tumekuwa na nikuwa nikiwaambia hii ushindi ni gumu sana. Sio kwa sababu ya Mount Kenya, kwa sababu nimekuwa nikiangalia na nikifanya research yangu venye hawa watu wa hizi nchi zingine huwa wanavote. And I said that time and again, it was very hard for Raila Odinga to go. Mount Kenya did not participate to that. And if anything, if there are people celebrating the loss of Raila Odinga, they are very few. What percentage? Many people don't even know that he was contesting. Anyway, many people did not bother so much about it. So, ukiona mtu wawili ama watatu wakisema, hey, tumefurahia ama, I mean, that should not trigger a lot of hatred in your heart. Hii ni siasa. Itakuja, itapita. Kesho utakuta Gachagua na Raila Odinga kwa meza moja na Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta supported Raila Odinga to become the president. He was a Kikuyu, and a typical Kikuyu. We supported William Ruto. We were Kikuyus when we were supporting him. And even right now, when we are not supporting him, we are still Kikuyus. So hakuna ile chuki kubwa ya kusema ati hawa watu tutawasaidia, tuko na chuki na wao. Jeremiah, reduce chuki. Hakuna chuki. Kesho utakuta sasa sisi ndio tutakuwa mstari wa kwanza supporting Baba and saying it is Baba's time. What if ustukie Central Kenya yote inasema tunachagua Raila Odinga? Na nikasema hapa juzi that around 1.5 votes that Raila got came from Central Kenya. hata kama kuna watu wengine wamechanganyika huku Central Kenya from other tribes, wengi wa hao wenye walichagua from the 1.5, around 800,000 votes were from the Kikuyu community. So utawaambia nini wakati tunasema tuchukie hawa watu ni wabaya? Utachukia hata wale wanapenda baba? I mean, so to reduce the tribal feelings, hata wakati yes, kila mtu apende kabila lake, lakini pia ajue hawa watu wengine sio maadui. Most of my friends are Luos. We only differ politically sometimes, but do I feel the same that these Luos should be sidelined? They should not be part of politics of Kenya. They should be put out of power. I don't think I feel that way. Anyway, Jeremiah, tuendelee na show.
Jeremiah umesikia vile Mburu anasema?
Mburu, what the point that you are missing is that even me, I said, and I knew that the chances of Raila winning are very slim. I told Kinabon here last year that considering the way geopolitics of Africa plays out, it's not going to be very easy for him. Where the problem is that somebody is happy and celebrates that loss as a Kenyan. That is the problem.
Jeremiah,
I understand when you say that.
So that we may be on the same page, nikubalie tu niseme kitu dakika moja tu ili uone tukikuwa on the same page. Unajua watu hawa celebrate, by the way, Central Kenya, watu hawa celebrate kuanguka kwa Raila Odinga. Watu wana celebrate kwa sababu sahi kuko na ile kachuki kidogo kati yao na William Ruto. Anything supported by William Ruto, who is right now being perceived as the enemy of the community, utakuta ikipigwa. So watu wa Central Kenya hawana shida na Raila Odinga. Watu wa Central Kenya wako na uchungu na vile William Ruto alifanyia Gachagua. So mipango yake yote ambayo ana support, utakuta watu wa Central wengi wao hawa support. So kuanguka kwa Raila Odinga, watu wanafurahia ya kwamba mipango ya Ruto imesabaratika. If anything, anybody would like Kenya to have that position. Lakini sahi wanasema Ruto alikuwa ametupangia apeleke Raila huko nje, achukue base ya Raila, sasa akuje atumize. So nobody has any problem with Raila Odinga from Central Kenya. The problem that people are having is the problem with one William Samoei Ruto. Na mtu yoyote atakuwa supported by William Samoei Ruto automatically becomes the enemy of the mountain as per that contest. So Jeremiah, usidhani ati watu wako na chuki na Raila Odinga. Chuki kubwa ni kati ya watu wa Mount Kenya and William Ruto. So ukiona wakifurahia wanasema project ya William Ruto moja imeanguka. Mipango ya William Ruto ya kutupagia vinyo atapata support somewhere else. Sasa hatuonyesha ya kwamba ile support tulimpea hata haina maana, wanasema imesabaratika. So I would like you to see it that way. Na ujue hata katika hizo nchi zingine, most of them did not vote for Raila Odinga. Not because Raila Odinga is bad, but because of the differences they have with William Ruto. William Ruto is a very reckless speaker. Uliona wakati
Mburu, you interjected and asked. It was my time.
Go ahead.
You interjected and you asked for just one time. No, unaanza submission tena.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is I understand you, and so what also you need to understand is that yes, what you are saying is okay, and I already understood that from before. The thing that doesn't lie well with Raila's base is that the mountain people are perceived to be laughing that is lost. Then the same mountain people want him to join hands with them so that they can remove Ruto. Do you have that? That's almost like that's an oxymoron of sorts. Yeah, As much as you might want to justify that they are not laughing because Raila lost, they are laughing because Ruto's project failed. You cannot separate Ruto's project failing and Raila losing and handle them as two different things. They are one and the same. So that therein lies the issue, that you are happy that he lost, but you expect that he will come and join hands with you to remove Ruto, who supported him to go to that competition to begin with. That is where the disconnect happens between what Raila's base is doing vis-a-vis what you expect them to do. So that needs to be also just clarified as such. Two, Raila, the process of a country nominating somebody to go and vie for an international role or function does not need public participation. Somebody puts himself up and say, I want to go for this position. No one in Kenya put their hands up. Raila did. As a requirement for the body, in this case AU, to accept your bid, you have to be endorsed by your government. So if Ruto did not endorse Raila, Raila could not have gone. You understand? So we did not need to have any public participation to get Mburu's opinion that, do you think Raila is the right person? And get Bond's opinion. Bond, do you think Raila is the right person? That is not the way it works. The way it works is an individual represents themselves, writes a letter officially to the international body and say, I would like to contest for this board. Then they are told, fine, we've received your interest. This is what we need you to do. Go back to your country. Let your government come in and endorse your candidature. Then, once they endorse, then they support you. Then you become a project of that government, not of that president, and not as an individual. So you lazima ikuwe very clear. The other point is that I think that moving forward, and Bon, I think I would prefer you move us to another discussion. We discuss another topic. Hii ya Raila imeshaisha, it ended on Saturday. Right now, people are moving forward. Let us see what is the next step for Kenya. But let us be clear that Raila's base is not happy because a segment of Kenyans were perceived to be celebrating that he lost. And that's their right. That's Raila's right, base right to feel offended. And it's the right of the segment of Kenyans that were perceived to be celebrating. It's their right. But that does not stop Kenya from moving forward. Maybe the next question born should be, where do we go from here? Maybe it's enough and enough of the AU happenings. It's behind us. I submit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeremiah. Of course, we have talked to Raila so much. He was defeated by the Djibouti candidate, and now we are looking forward for his next step. And of course, we have talked more about the next step. Unless Mburu, you want to add something before we go to the next?
Yes. What Jeremiah is not telling his people, the ones he is calling his people, is that these people of Central Kenya had nothing to do with the fail of Raila Odinga, because nobody in Central Kenya was participating in that election. It was typically being done by the outsiders. So people should reduce the bitterness that they have. And also I want to say that I know when such a thing happened, when people lose, like what happened, people enter into denial, they enter into bitterness, and sometimes they want to look for someone to blame. Right now, it's kind of not, although not directly, they are trying like kind of to blame the Mount Kenya just to feel consoled, which is unfortunate that even Jeremiah, with all his wisdom and all his knowledge, is also entering into the same trap, almost the same as Gaucho, who has no much understanding of politics. In politics, there is no enemy, and there is also no friend. It is all about interest. Ours, on our side, we are saying that the Raila Odinga failing to succeed in AU is a good thing because we feel we can work together with him to achieve that interest which we are looking for. And that interest is to make sure that William Ruto is a one-term president because of the reasons that we all know. He is someone who cannot be trusted. He is someone who is very selfish. He just thinks about himself. He is someone who has become too big that he forgot those who supported him. He is someone who has made so many promises that he has not fulfilled. Therefore, people of Central Kenya have no any grudge with Raila Odinga or hatred with Raila Odinga whatsoever. For us, we are saying, come, Raila Odinga, this is your time. Form a coalition, a strong coalition with us, a coalition strong enough to send William Ruto home. And right now, the Central Kenya people, I know they are very willing even to work with Raila Odinga as the presidential candidate, so long as they achieve the objective of removing someone who is misleading the country, someone who thinks that when you become the president, you can do anything against the electorate, against the common mwananchi, someone who thinks that when you are heckled by the young people, the next day you said the police to arrest them, to torture them, and to some extent even to kill them. That is the kind of government that the people of Central Kenya are very tired of. And therefore, the Central Kenya people have no problem with Raila Odinga. We wanted him home so that we can form a coalition. That is our prayer. That's our desire. That this time around, we would like to work with Raila Odinga, even if it means to make him the president, so long as we will be in a position to send this bad government home. Yeah, that's how I feel it. Bonnie, back to you.
I know that's a white lie, Jeff, coming from you, because the other day I asked you if Raila ran against Ruto, who would you vote for? Uliruka ukasema Ruto. Hapa kwa hii show tu. So you at we are willing to do anything. We don't want that. Now, what you are mentioning is exactly what I'm trying to explain to you, that Raila's base is tired of is what wewe unasema ni hatred. It's not hatred. What we don't want to be used by somebody to get what they want. And what you've just mentioned is exactly what you want. That you want Raila to come and help you to achieve the goal of what you want of removing Ruto. And that's what we are saying. Mtoe tu, we don't mind. We're just not going to work with you to help you to remove it. If you can do it without us, no problem. Just proceed and do your thing. And that is the point you have to get. We are not saying we don't anything. What we are saying is that we are not open to collaborating with a segment of Kenyans because we know that they use us. And if you listen to Gaucho's statement, he counted down. Kibaki used Raila.
I don't want to discuss Gaucho. I want to discuss with an intellectual like you.
No, it's not going to.
You are not in the same level of Gaucho. Your reasoning, Jeremiah, is very high.
Hii story ya Raila inafaa ishe. Let's talk national issues. Hii ya Raila ilishaisha.
No. Let me tell
tunamaliza na Raila already. Tunashamaliza na Raila.
No. Bonnie, just a minute.
I had finished talking about Raila. I wanted us to go to the next topic. But Guru, nataka kuongea mambo ya Raila. Si uchungu.
Jeremiah.
We've talked about Raila for an hour and a half on a 2 hour show. Unatoa show
Jeremiah.
tunaongea about Raila for 1 hour and 1 hour 40 minutes.
No, just a minute. Give me a minute, Jeremiah. Mimi Jeremiah naona kama siasa inakulemea kidogo. Siasa nilikuambia it is a game of numbers and the game of interest. Usiangalie Central Kenya useme ati sisi tunataka mkuje mtusaidie to achieve our goal. We can as well help you. We can as well help you to achieve your goal and your desires.
No.
So that's why
we are not going,
it's all about
we are not going in that
interest.
direction.
The other thing, Jeremiah, when we are in the show, we should not think that we are representative of our regions holistically. Maana wewe Jeremiah sio Wajaruo wote, na sio Wajaruo wote wanahisi vyenye wanahisi. Kuna wenye wanaona what I am saying, kuna wenye wanaona vyenye unasema. When I'm here, I'm not a representative of all the Kikuyus, because each person has the freedom of expression and also the freedom of having different opinion and such kind of things. So tusikue na ile ati tunafikiria nikiongea hapa naongea kuhusu Wakikuyu wote. Sio wote watanifuata, sio Wajaruo wote watafuata venye unasema. Kuna wenye wameshika venye nasema, kuna wenye wanaona niko na point, kuna wenye wanaona wewe pia uko na point. Haya, tutoke kwa Raila Odinga, twende kwa kitu kingine, Boni. Na Boni, kama ungekuja kwa show ingekuwa mzuri zaidi, ungekuja kwa video. Hata Jeremiah, tuonane macho kwa macho. Mwache kujificha na
niko kwa kitanda. Ni kwa kitanda si
yes, if you are following us here for the first time, make sure you subscribe to Africa 24.
We have a comment from Awesome there. Maybe you can read it for us, Bonnie.
Yes. If you're following us here for the first time, make sure you subscribe to Africa 24 as we share more about politics in this country. Awesome. It's saying that I have said here before that history repeats itself. 41 against one region is now here. Let's have a conversation. That is what he is saying. Anasema historia inajirudia. Historia inajirudia. Sijui anamaanisha historia inajirudia nini. Lakini pia tumeona
historia 2000.
Martha Karua.
Historia 2007. It will never repeat itself. Awesome, I don't expect that argument from you. Maana kulingana na Kiingereza yenye huwa unaandika hapa, naamini wewe ni mtu mwenye amesoma. Na I expect that kind of argument, 41 against 1, profiling that community against that community, having very strong tribal feelings. It should come from people who are not literate. Sisi wenye Mungu amesaidia ndio tunastahili kusaidia hao wengine, tuwaambie let us come out of hii kitu ya kufikiria sana mambo ya kabila hii kabila ile. Nikija hapa nataka nisikie the mental capacity for someone to hold the debate without having bitterness, without having hatred, without having grudge, you know. And that's what we are supposed to send out there to Kenyans, that this politics has nothing to do with hatred. This politics has nothing to do with the tribe. This politics is all about interest. If anything, apart from politics, Kenyans love each other. The rules work with the Kikuyu community. Samaki karibu wote wenye wanatoka Nyanza, wengi wao, 80% inatumika Central Kenya. I don't know whether you are aware of that. So, isipokuwa ni siasa inatutenganisha, utakuta ya kwamba Wakikuyu wameona na Wajaruo. Kwanza Wajaruo nyinyi mmetunyang'anya wasichana wetu karibu wote. So tukikuwa na hiyo feeling kubwa ya mambo ya ukabila, hao watoto wenye mumezaa na wasichana wetu wataenda pande gani? So things are moving forward, people are moving forward. So tukikuja kwa siasa tukue tunajaribu kubalance, tusikue kama tunaonyesha chuki hiyo kubwa ya 41 against 1. Wajaruo mko na watoto wengi sana wetu, ni sisi tuko na watoto wenu wengi sana. Mnataka wajiite kabila gani? I mean, so hata siasa kama ni tunaendelea na kuonyesha watu it is all about interest. It has nothing about the hatred yenye ilikuwa huko 1963. We come out from that level. We go to another level of educating our people. to love one another, and to be making coalition where necessary for the betterment of the country, not of the community that they come from.
Tumeona Martha Karua leo anataka kujiunga na akina Eugene Wamalwa. Unafikiri pia Mburu, unafikiri Martha Karua atakuwa anafufua mlima?
Sasa, you see, there are people that politically, okay, Martha Karua has done a lot. She was the Minister of Justice during Kibaki's time. She was a member of parliament for a very long time. She has been advocating for good governance for a long time. But as far as politics is concerned, Martha Karua has no votes. So the numbers that we keep on talking about here, she does not add much. She does not add much value to the group that she joins. So the only thing she can do is to go back to her political base and try to revive herself politically, because you have to start from somewhere. She's supposed to start from Gachagua. And then after being able to solidify, not even if not Gachagua, but she is supposed to have a political base. The reason why Raila Odinga rose in 2022 is because, and I said it here, is because he chose Martha Karua to be his running mate. And he knew very well that Martha Karua was not commanding any political base. And we have to know that there is a pattern in which Kenyans vote. So Martha Karua, politically, she has no power. She cannot add any value to any group unless she goes back to her political base, reorganize herself, restructure herself, have a political base so that she can be counted among others. That's how I feel. It won't make much change joining any group. At least we should be talking about people like Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta is still a respected leader and a former president with a lot of influence nationally and internationally. We should be talking of people like Didi Nyoro, people like not even Kidiki. Kidiki is still struggling politically. We should be talking about people like Gachagua, right now in central Kenya. But Martha Karua, politically, her star is already covered. She needs to uncover herself. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We exhausted our today's topic. Before we come to the end, I just want to ask, Jeremiah, between William Ruto, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Raila Odinga, who is the most influential person and why?
Is that a trick question?
No, I'm just asking you on a neutral ground.
Before I answer that, I want to support what Mburu has said, and I told you this before Mburu came. Martha Karua is spent, and that formation that she's joining is even deader than dead. I asked you how many MPs does DAP-K currently have? So for Martha to join DAP, which doesn't have any representative in the Kenyan parliament, Martha herself, when she ran as Raila's running mate in her own constituency, they didn't even get 1% votes. Wamalwa has no influence at all in his backyard. His party is not even counted among the top parties in Western. When somebody sits to talk about Western parties that can be considered for a coalition government, DAP is not even included in that list. And by all measure, aside from the fact that he's a party leader, which anyone can be, Mburu can create a party today and become a party leader. Wamalwa is not a national leader. As much as he's the leader of a party and then he has been a minister and all, does not make him a national leader. Do you think Wamalwa can go to Central by himself and pull crowds to come and listen to him? Do you think he can go to Coast?
Yes,
Do you think he can?
Yes, he can pull.
No, Wamalwa by himself.
Yes,
He
No
can't.
way. How?
he can.
How is he going
Jeremiah, he
to?
can. Why are
If
you
he pays
underrating
people,
Wamalwa?
if he pays people to go and listen to him, maybe. But that he has come somewhere, people want to go and listen to Wamalwa. Even in Western, he will be hard pressed to get crowds. He can get a handful of people. So that formation for me is dead. To dislodge Ruto needs a real opposition. Not those Kalugulongos are those people. That can't work. So it's inconsequential. Back to your question. There are three ways that I will answer that question. The first way is that Ruto currently has influence and say, being that he's the current president. That gives him a lot of weight. Raila has a lot of influence because he knows how to command crowds and he can pull crowds at any. He can wake up tomorrow and say, on Friday, Kenya hakuna kazi na hakuna kazi hiyo siku. When Raila wakes up and tells you, wenda ununue diaper, bibi yako ana mimba. Hata kama hujaona hiyo bibi yako for 5 years, wenda tu ununue diaper, because Baba will not tell you a lie. Uhuru has a lot of influence sana in the international scene. He pulls a lot of respect because of the way he carries himself post his presidency. And domestically in Kenya, he still has a lot of sway and respect in the central Kenya region. So if you ask me who's the most influential, I don't think I would say one individual is more influential than the other. Each one of them is influential in their own personal different spheres and spaces. That's why nimekuuliza, is that a trick question?
I asked Buru that question, and of course, he gave me a response that almost comes from the mountain.
Bonnie, are you lying like Ruto? Because you never asked me that question. Are you trying
I
to lie
asked you
to
this question. I asked you mkono mzalendo hapa.
When? In the show? Now, let me, because I don't remember such a question, let me just state some few things. That one.
No, who is
that you are asking who is more influential between Uhuru Kenyatta than Raila Odinga. I would say that that question
and William Ruto.
I would say that question is badly mistaken, because you are comparing people who are not in the same category. You compare people with relevant others. We are talking of Uhuru Kenyatta, who is a retired president. He is not in active politics. Raila Odinga can be compared with William Ruto, because Raila Odinga is still in active politics. So the influence of Uhuru Kenyatta might not help us much. If anything, he is supposed to be a statesman. where people go for advice, where nations go for advice, and where he can be seeking to reconcile those that are having differences, and nothing much. So I would not like to compare Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, because I don't think at any given time they are going to be opponents in government or in competition, in any competition. However, I would like to compare Raila Odinga and William Ruto, because those are relevant parties. There is a possibility that Odinga can be an opponent to William Ruto. And this is how I would like to put it. For you to be relevant or to be very strong or powerful politically, you require three things, which also Jeremiah has broken down very well. One is domestic influence. How many people believe in you? How many people can follow you? How, even without bribing them or doing anything to them, how many people believe in you, that you are their leader? They follow you. Some of them follow you blindly, that if you tell them jump, they jump without asking up to where. And Raila Odinga domestically is right now is very strong. I think he is 3 times powerful than William Ruto, because William Ruto has already lost his most important political base. Without the support of Raila Odinga, William Ruto is done, is finished. Internationally, you need to have influence for you to be a powerful politician. Who has more influence internationally between Raila Odinga and William Ruto? Internationally, William Ruto is still a political baby. He just came the other day. Right now, this is the time he's trying to familiarize himself with the international community. Many of them don't even understand him very well. Raila Odinga has been there for many, many years. Therefore, internationally, Raila Odinga still beats William Ruto. He has a lot of influence out there, because he occupied the position of the prime minister. He has been an opposition leader for so many years. Therefore, internationally, he is doing very well. The other thing that you require for you to be a powerful politician is money, financial power, financial muscle. I don't know. Previously, Raila Odinga was more powerful money-wise than William Ruto. Right now, I don't know, because people say William Ruto is a good thief. He might be a trillionaire right now by having occupied government for those 2 years. So I may not be able to compare how they are doing financially. But Raila Odinga also is a very rich guy. The Odinga family is one of the most powerful families in Kenya. William Ruto is coming up, and I know he is doing anything possible, everything possible to be the richest person in Kenya. That is why he is even being counted second most corrupt person in the whole world. I don't know whether Kenyans know what that means. It means this guy is stealing right, left, and center. So he might be more powerful financially than Raila Odinga right now. I don't know. That's what I can say. Thank you, Bonnie.
Asante sana Jeremiah, asante sana Jeff. For the last 2 hours tumekuwa tukipiga siasa hapa. As we come to the end of the show, Jeremiah, some closing remarks.
Asante. Buru,
Yes.
do not put your head in the sand like the proverbial ostrich. Okay.
And that is the closing remarks.
Every you know this as much as I do, that
Yes.
a politician has to keep his ears on the ground. When you hear Raila's base rumbling, don't assume it's hatred or what. Try and understand why. We have all the time to do that. Yeah. With that said, let's be open. I'm not saying you're not, and this is now not directed to you. Yeah.
Yes.
What I was directing to you, I've already said. But moving forward, what I'm saying, I'm not directing to you. What I'm trying to say is that Kenya needs to really take a very good lesson from the failure in the AU, because largely our failure was due to lapses in our foreign policy. Okay, it was lapses in our perception of how global geopolitics goes. Okay, it was a miscalculation on how we represent ourselves in front of the international community, and that is specifically to the fact that Raila had almost 200 MPs with him. The other contestants, actually the guy who won only had his wife and his aide. There are only 3 people from Djibouti. Yeah, our shenanigans nini Addis rubbed some people the wrong way, and between voting round 1, round 2 up to round 6, people were lobbying in the corridors and making phone calls and sending emails and things like that. The lesson that we need to take out of that as Kenyans is we need a foreign policy, so that the president does not wake up and supports Israel, and the AU had pronounced itself as supporting Palestine. So the president doesn't just wake up and allow DRC M23 rebels to come and launch an attack from Nairobi, a soft launch in Nairobi. Then the next day they go back and launch an actual military attack against the government. So that the president does not allow, not even the president, the government does not allow what happened actually today, that rebels in Sudan were launching their assault on Khartoum at KICC today. Na tumekaa tu hapo tunaangalia. The country is going to the dogs, and it's not just Ruto's fault. It is something that we as a country have to wake up and align our foreign policy. Otherwise, no Kenyan will ever win anything in the international stage if it's something that is elective. If it's something that is given by meritocracy, through masomo, through smartness, through all of that, Kenyans will win all day. But anything that goes to elective process in the international stage, tumechafua maji, it's not going to be easy for us to win anything. And Raila's loss is the second one. You remember that Amina also lost in 2017 because of geopolitics and poor foreign policy. And we have done it even worse now. So I'm afraid that maybe the next time a Kenyan will vie for one of these things, it's probably going to be a worse performance again. So lazima tukue. I weep for my country when I see that we don't have a foreign policy to have our country go in the direction that endears us in the eyes of the international community. Right now, tunapigana na South Africa, tunapigana na DRC, Tanzania hawatupendi, all these other African countries wanatuangalia wanashindwa what's wrong with Kenyans. The international community are just wondering what's going on in Kenya. We have to really sharpen. Hiyo tu ndio yangu. Asanteni.
Bon, you are muted. Maybe I can give my final remarks.
Asante sana Jeremiah. Asante sana Jeremiah. Yes, Jeff, you can give your final remark.
Yeah, I'll just highlight some few things. I'll start with what is happening in Uganda, because this is Africa 24, which I believe it is being watched even outside there. I would like to state that what the government of Uganda is doing against the opposition leader, Besigye, is totally unacceptable. That we have seen how his health has deteriorated, and they don't have any good reason to arrest him for opposing the government of Museveni. And I think it's the high time the people of Uganda come out of their hiding. It's the high time they put aside their fear and they start fighting for their freedom.
Nyinyi mlimshika mkampeleka kwa Museveni hapa Nairobi tu.
That's very, very unfortunate. We should condemn that as Kenyans. Let us condemn it in our social medias. Let us talk about it, because the people of Uganda, who are our neighbors, are so much oppressed. I feel so bad when I see what is happening in Uganda, because Uganda is my second home. I stayed in Uganda for 6 good years. So I feel bad when such things are happening in Uganda. It is not right to have a president for all those years, just one person for over 20 years or 30 years. It's like he owns those people. It's like he owns that country. The international community should come out and condemn what is happening in Uganda, and not just condemn, and demand that Besigye be released, because he was arrested against the international law. They don't have any proof. They arrested him in Kenya. That is violation of international laws, and the international community should come out and condemn that. William Ruto handed over Besigye to Uganda, because there is no way policemen from outside the country can come here and arrest someone without the blessings of the president. That cannot happen, and he is not talking about it. So it's disgusting, such things happening. The other thing I would like to say is that let us reduce tribal differences, tribal animosity. Let us not fuel tribalism. Let us show people that, yes, we can differ politically without strong feelings about it, because these leaders, they don't care about how we feel out there. They only think about their interest, and even ourselves, we know that apart from politics, we work very well amongst ourselves, between ourselves, as tribes, and we don't have any difference apart from during the time of politics. Therefore, we should reduce the tribal animosity in our country, because that is the best way we can do against that. And I also want to request Kenyans to unite against bad governance. The bad governance of William Ruto, keep talking about it. And some of these things we talk about, and maybe people may feel like I am being biased when I say William Ruto was not supposed to take taxpayers' money to start campaigning out there. And Kenya has lost a lot of money. We were not supposed to go that direction without the approval of Parliament. William Ruto thinks that he can do anything with the taxes that we pay, which is actually not right. So when I'm saying that some things are not supposed to happen, it's because I think there is the right way of doing things, because we say absolute power collapse absolutely, and that is what is happening. Everything in Kenya is not working well because it is a one-man show, that he expects that whatever he says becomes the law. He thinks he can do anything and nobody can question his actions, which I think is not right. And that is why even now he's having a serious difference with the courts, which I think should not be entertained. The other thing I can say is that welcome, Baba. Kenya needs you even more than the AU. When Baba is in town, he cannot keep quiet. Like during the time of abductions, he was not able to say anything. Though he was saying it, he said it on a lighter note because he did not want to offend William Ruto. But if the things William Ruto was doing when Baba was campaigning for AU, if he repeats the same thing, Baba will be against him. That is why I'm saying he has a lot to do in Kenya. He will help us to check this government, and we need him more. Nobody is against Baba. Even those who are celebrating are not celebrating against Raila Odinga. And the final thing I can say is that as I welcome Baba is also to tell him, let him make a prudent decision. And the prudent decision is not to join William Ruto, because I cannot imagine having the government of William Ruto for 10 years. And Kenyans, remember, this man has a plan, an evil plan of changing the constitution to increase the presidential term, which we should all refuse. That is what I can say for now. Good people, remember to subscribe to Africa 24. Thank you, Bonnie, for the opportunity that you gave me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Africa 24 family. See you same place, same time.